Hey everyone, we're doing something a little bit different today. Instead of doing a live and asking for questions or podcasting, I wanted to do something really practical that would be immediately helpful and implementable for your business. So, what we're going to do is audit a website. This happens to be an old website of mine from a few years ago, and we're just going to go through. I'm going to kind of walk a fine line between, obviously I know myself and where I was a couple of years ago, but I want to try to step out of that and view this as a potential client in my case and see what things I should improve. So, what's the point in doing a website audit, a regular website audit, even if every quarter would probably be the most frequent, but every 6 months, definitely. Why should we do this? And it's kind of like a checkup. Believe it or not, the website should not be something you set and forget. You create it and maybe you add some fresh content to certain pages, but the rest of it you don't touch. That's not what you want to do. In order to make sure that it is always on point with new data you have, new things you've learned about your ideal audience, just that it still reflects where you're at in your business, it needs to be regularly reviewed. Is that easier for someone who is not on your team in your business to review? Of course it is. So let's just take a look at this. Before I audit a website, I'm going to ask a few questions. I'm going to ask, what is it that you do? So for this website, at this point in my business, I was just a freelance copywriter. I wasn't doing any coaching, just freelance copywriting. And I was freelance copywriting for small businesses who were service businesses. A little bit of product, but I focused more in the marketing on service businesses. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. My mission, that's another question I would ask. What is your mission as a company? My mission was, I didn't really have one. I was just trying to, grow my business, serve clients well, and make money. That was it. I did not have this larger purpose because at this point I did not have a vision for growing a business, for having something more established with team members and greater revenue, that type of thing. I didn't have that vision. So I was just freelancing and working it in the middle of taking care of my kids. So that's where I was at. I didn't really have a mission. The other question to ask is, what is the purpose of the site? So here's the example. At this time in my business, the purpose of my site would have been to give me some credibility. I was getting leads primarily by referral, word of mouth. So once my, people were referring other clients to me, those clients would check out my website just to see, is she credible? So that's primarily what this site, the goal needed to be, was just credibility, like proving that I was a professional. So let's look at it like that. And who is my audience? Now, this is when I tried to step back from what my business, like obviously I knew behind the scenes of my business. I knew where I was at and what I was about. But now I want to step back from that a little bit and think about who my ideal client was at that time. So I already said my ideal client was a small business owner. Maybe they had a small team. They maybe did a little bit of marketing, but they were just kind of starting to dabble in it officially. Okay, so thinking about that person, a service business owner, probably someone who, was already successful in a lot of cases that were doing anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million. So I'm thinking about that person. Obviously, at this time, their revenue was far greater than mine. So I was a small player on their team. So I'm thinking about this. The first thing I'm noticing, this was my homepage at that time. The first thing I'm noticing is that this does not look super professional to me. This looks like the business owner created the page themselves. Spoiler alert, I did. I totally did. So it doesn't look as professional as it should if my target is $250,000 to $1 million. These are very successful business owners that I will have coming to the page. So it really needs just a more professional look. I'm also noticing on this page that this pink bar just below my header is sticking out, but not in a good way. Like it doesn't seem like it fits with anything else. So the first thing that I'm seeing when I go to a page is the look. Obviously, that's the first thing. Before I even read any of the copy, I'm just noticing what's the look. We have these scrolling images. That doesn't tell me a lot. The second thing I start to look at is the copy, because you need someone in, let's say 20 seconds or less, 30 if we're being generous, to look at this site and know exactly what you do, who you do it for. I know that this is a marketing company because it's called Be Weird Marketing, but I'm not sure what they do, and I'm not exactly sure who they do it for. I mean, I know they do it for, they market for business. That's what I'm getting from this first headline of Your Business Can Change the World. They market for business, but that's all I'm getting. So you don't really know what exactly it is that I offer, what exactly it is, the people that I offer it to, although the pictures are telling me we have a photographer, we have maybe a realtor, we have maybe a retail store, and then a baker, I'm guessing. So I don't know. Is that the only type of company that this website, the person who has this website works for? I'm not sure. So let's go. Oh, before I go down, let's talk about a couple of things. So it looks like there's a freebie here. Get your free questionnaire that will unlock your customers' secrets. About what? What are they? What kind of secrets is the customer holding on to and hiding that I don't know about? I need to know about? Am I sure I want to know about this? So that feels unclear to me. And also with a freebie, you really want to make sure that it's something that's like an instant yes from your target audience. And that's not an instant yes for me. That's not really, that doesn't solve an immediate problem of mine easily. So I don't think I'm going to click on that. And then let's talk about this headline, Your Business Can Change the World. It's very vague. I know, because this is my old site, that what I was trying to get to, I mean, this was more of a mission statement for me, like why I do marketing. So it's more of a mission statement for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything to my target audience, because my target audience, thinking about this as the business owner that's viewing this, they're not coming to a marketing page because they want help changing the world. They're coming to a marketing page, they're coming looking for a copywriter because something is not converting. Whether it's a sales page or it's an email or, whatever it is, that's a blog post, it's not moving enough or the right kind of people to the next step in their sales funnel. And that's why they want to work on their messaging. They want to tighten up their messaging so they can move people through that customer journey. They're not coming to a copywriter's page to change the world. So that was a miss. That needs to be changed to something more that actually is, convert your leads or, move your customer through the sales funnel or something that's that has too much jargon in it, marketing jargon. I think it's more about make more sales, get more leads, that type of thing. That's what they're coming to a copywriter's page. Get more leads by improving your messaging. And that needs some workshopping, but you get the idea. And the other place, this is a result statement. This is a transformation statement. This is what they experience from working with a copywriter. But that's not the very first thing on the page. Maybe that should come still, like we call it, above the fold, which is the part you can see before scrolling. So it should still come above the fold, but the very first thing that you want to say is copywriting for service businesses or copywriting for small businesses, so people know what this business does. And before I scroll down, let's hit on a couple of other small things. So we have this scheduled consultation up here in the top corner. That's not necessarily bad, but based on the rest of this, top portion of this page, I don't know what the consultation is for. Schedule a consultation to do what? Get help changing the world? Again, it doesn't go together. If you're going to have a schedule a consultation in your header, which is not a bad thing, you better be absolutely certain they know what the consultation is for. And I would have another button, another call to action button below, what you do. Copywriting for small businesses, let's chat or get started or learn more or something like that. I don't even know necessarily that I would call it schedule consultation. That language may be a little too hard, let's say. Let's soften it up a little bit with, more of a let's get started, learn more, something softer. Okay. Also, by looking at this page, I'm assuming it's a one-page site because there's no navigation. There are no actual navigation names of pages up here, and there's no little hamburger, as we call it, that they can click to see more navigation, which is fine. A one-page site is fine if you're just kind of starting out, as long as it's great. So we'll keep scrolling and see what we find. Okay, already with the pictures, I briefly mentioned that, but when you are a one-person solopreneur, it would have been better to use a photo of the business owner. I'm going to try to talk about this like I'm not the actual business owner, but it's hard. All right, finally, we get to some copy. So this is a copywriter's website, but we haven't really had much copy so far. Here we go. Every interaction you have with a customer or client is an opportunity to enrich his life, make her smile, or brighten his day. Your business can be a force for good in the world, but you need more than just a website that tells people what you do. You need to leverage the power of words, words that make your customers feel seen and valued, words that make your clients feel understood. You need Be Weird marketing. It's not the worst written copy in the world, which is great because this is a copywriter's site. It's just not telling a story that really matters to the customer, to the person coming to this site. It ties in well to your business can change the world up here. But again, that's not really what a business coming to this site wants to do. They want to see, you focus more on let's help them identify, let's help the business owner know that I'm in the right place. So let's talk about more what problems are happening. Like, are you not getting great leads? Are you not getting enough leads? Are, different things that can happen. Are people who are going to your sales pages not buying? Things like that. Are people unsubscribing from your emails or not opening them at all? These are all real problems that a small business owner is going to encounter. Let's say it's very likely that they're encountering these. So let's use the copy initially to make sure that you're telling this business owner coming to the site that they're in the right place. Then once they know, okay, yeah, I'm having these problems, then you go into, that's very common, it's very solvable, this is how I can help. So you paint the picture of, if your emails are not getting very many opens, let's work on your subject lines. If your sales pages are not resulting in enough actual sales, then let's optimize the page. You're painting the picture for them of, here are your problems. Well, here's the solution to that. And then we can talk more about, the actual, this company, Be Weird Marketing. Okay, schedule a time to chat. That's a little bit softer. I do like that. And the other thing we want all of these call to action buttons, at least on the homepage, to say the exact same thing. Let's not be confusing. Let's be clear above all. So all of these buttons should have the exact same phrasing. Okay, it's just now that we're figuring out, possibly, the 3 steps to killer marketing copy. I'm going to assume now that one of the things this Be Weird marketing company does is marketing copy. But even then, they're not outright telling me. So it's an assumption because we're about to talk about copy. So we have more, I don't even think this is necessarily a potential customer for this business. It's a mom and her child, it looks like, having lunch. This is a person shopping. So it could be, I think it's getting at the customer point maybe. It's very hard to know. So this 3 steps that they're telling you about is know your customer, basically know your ideal customer, focus on your ideal customer. So talk directly to them, make sure that you're talking about your customer more than you're talking about your own company. That's still true. That's still true where I'm at now. And then build a relationship with your customers. All of this information is true. I don't think it's something that needs to be on your homepage. You're going through, this copywriter is going through and basically explaining their process. We get to know your customer, we focus on your customer with the messaging, and then we continue to build a deeper and deeper relationship with them. That's great, but that's a process that the business owner coming to this page probably doesn't care about at first glance. They're caring about, are you for me? Can you solve my problems? Why should I pick you? And then direct them to the next step, So I don't think this is really what I would put. I think it may be valuable information later on, maybe on a sales call you kind of go through this, but not for a homepage. So I would take this section completely out. And then here's another scheduled consultation. Again, consistency with the messaging here, and I would use consistency with either all caps or title case caps. Okay, here's the section about me. This is who the copywriter is, lots of years of experience, my philosophy, this is how I write. Okay, this is not awful. It's not awful. I think I would just add some more, maybe some results in here. Like, this is what I've gotten from my clients. Their conversion rates have jumped to this much percent. Like a couple of examples of data-driven results. Because it's still a lot about, here's my philosophy, here's how I write. It's still very focused on this business owner instead of writing the About Me section, at least for the homepage, to be more about the person visiting the site. Okay, let's keep going. We have some testimonials, looks like 3. Okay, I do like this. This is a great feature to make sure you have some testimonials on that homepage, because that is part of where the credibility comes in, that people coming to this site were looking for, making sure this is a credible professional that they would want to do business with. So testimonials are very important. I think as we get further onto this, I think there are some other ways to improve the page. Okay, and then we have at the bottom a couple of, looks like a badge that they're a certified copywriter by an organization and they belong to this group, this business owner group. Oh, wait, see, we do have other pages, but you wouldn't know it because there's no navigation up here. So that's a big ding. Your navigation, it needs to be repeated in the footer, but it needs to be on top, or at least a hamburger where you can click into it. So there is an about, a clients, and a work with me. The other thing that I'm not seeing on the page, we saw at the top that this copywriter has a freebie, but they're not talking about it anywhere on the page. So it doesn't feel like they're trying to get people to go to the freebie very much, or that that's a priority, because they could have a section down here that it has a picture of the freebie and explains what's in it to get people onto the email list, which is a logical step for people going to your website for that next move to get them to sign up for some kind of a lead magnet or free item, and then they get on your email list and you continue the relationship there. But that's not what they did. That is an improvement I would make. And again, I think there's just a little more professional look is definitely appropriate here. It needs a redesign. Let's go to about. Okay, more about me. And this is fine. This is a first-person story about why this copywriter went into writing, and they tie it up with, every business. And again, we're still talking about a business has the opportunity to be a force for good in the world. That is true, but that is an internal mission statement. It's not necessarily going to appeal to the person coming to the site. So I would change that to, being a part of every business's success and helping them reach more people and things like that. Something that the person coming to the site is going to care about a little more. That's how I would tie it together. Schedule a consultation. I would keep this consistent. in phrasing and in all caps or not. Okay, and that's all the same. Let's go to this client page. What does it look like? Some of the businesses I've had the honor of working with. This is not bad. The format probably leaves something to be desired. So we just have no copy, which is odd for a copywriter to not really have any copy. And some of the formatting of the logos, I'm not sure about. Like this one obviously has, it wasn't a PNG version that has no background. So it has a background, lots of different colors here. But again, the thing that is just killing me from a copywriter is no copy. No copy hardly on the page. Like, let's talk a little bit more about it, or give me an example of what you did for one of these companies. Like, show me something. They do have some testimonials, but I also think the formatting of this is odd. Like, we have just a bunch of logos, and then we have 4 testimonials all together. This one does not have an image, so it looks a little inconsistent. But I think the formatting of this just leaves something to be desired. I think there's a better way. Obviously, this copywriter has worked with some well-known companies and done a lot of work, it appears, but they're not really showing me any of that. They're just showing me some logos. And there's another thing about testimonials. You can put those anywhere. If you have a collection of testimonials, scatter them throughout your site. And I think I would maybe only put the state name, the location. I probably wouldn't do that unless I was trying to have a local business. Then I might put locations in there. But if you're trying to have a nationwide or an international business, that's probably not helpful. Okay, work with me. Let's learn more about their services. What do they do? Oh, shoot. We don't really know. So we have a copywriter who's not really telling you or demonstrating that they write copy. It's just, it would be my pleasure to work with you to get started. Schedule a call. Now, as an aside, in my defense, no one was going to this site because I was using referrals and word of mouth, and most of the time those people weren't even going to my site. They were just like, the person who referred them would email me, copy them in, introduce us, and then we get started. But aside from that, this is not the best copywriter site. I mean, it is nice to be able to schedule an introductory call with this person right here without having to contact anybody, but they're just not telling me, what do they write? Do they have a specialty? Do they do blogs, websites, emails, lead magnets, and on, sales pages? What kind of writer are they? They're not giving me enough information. And for someone who, as a copywriter, you want to display what you do on your site to give evidence that you are a pro. They're not doing that. Like, if you say you write SEO blog posts, but you don't have a blog page. If you say you write sales pages, high converting sales pages, but you don't have a sales page on your site. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're not demonstrating very well what they do. Just like if it was a graphic designer, I would expect this site to look incredible and be the very best evidence of what a great expert they are, what a great professional. And if it doesn't, if it looks like this, then I'm like, oh, that's not a great web designer, or whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? So I think this copywriter is missing a big opportunity to show their skills by having such a lean site, a copy light site, which is hard to believe. They're missing the ball. So I would recommend a redesign, and let's go back through here and really, let's just bump up the copy. Let's make sure it hits, that it is achieving a point, that you know why this person is coming to the site, whether if it's credibility, like it was for me years ago, then I think that there should be a credibility bar here somewhere, which that is, you can use media features in a credibility bar. You can use client logos in a credibility bar. There are so many things, but I think since that was the purpose of the site back then, there should have been a credibility bar here with the client logos on it. And then, yeah, definitely a copy revamp, because this is not getting it done. And I think what the trick is that this copywriter just wasn't focusing enough on what they preach down here about focusing on your customer, what's in it for me? I think they were missing the ball, missing it on actually doing this on their own site. So this is what an audit that I would typically do would look like. I would record this just like I'm recording this video, and then I would put together a list of recommendations. That's typically how this works. If there are more pages where this site did not have a lot of pages, if there are sales pages, or if there is a blog or things like that, I take a light look at those too and give some general feedback about things that might be missing. But this person didn't even do that. So let's see. Oh, it's because this is an unpublished site. I wanted to see if this went to a page, and I'm assuming it would have went when it was a live site. So that's what an audit looks like. If that's something you're interested in, I'm more than happy to do that for your company. And I'll list the link below the video so that you can do that. But hopefully this gives you some ideas and a fresh perspective to go back to your own site and look at it as much as you can. It is very hard to look at it just as I'm going to be a consumer. I'm going to pretend I don't know anything about this company, that I don't know anything about their service, and I'm just going to go in here and look at this with completely fresh eyes and see where is it missing the mark and costing you leads, email signups, all of these things, and to do it regularly because things change. And it's important to go back in at least twice a year and take a new look at your site, all of the pages. Make sure that each page, there may be different pages with different goals, that each page is hitting the goal and moving your person along through the customer journey, to the next step. That is the goal of your site. That's really the goal of everything you do. Identify what the next step is you want the person to take and make sure that that piece is targeted exactly toward doing that. It's extremely clear that you are setting the person up to move to the next stage. This was so much fun for me, even though it was an old site of mine. It was a personal example. It was a lot of fun. And I look forward to helping more of you in the future by doing these site audits, sales page audits, blog audits, lead magnet audits, email sequence. All of these things need to be audited on occasion. I look forward to helping you with that and hope you have a great day.